Contest of Speed Championship. We're riding on board with NSX Montana, the championship leader and also the first man out on track in this qualifying session. Delayed because of technical glitches that we've sadly become accustomed to over the course of this game. I'm Jack Prentice, jprentice678, your regular summariser, and with me, a new face in the commentary box in EU1 this season, and that's Pure Blades replacing Limmy for this weekend. Blades, an interesting session, I think it's fair to say. Certainly a session where you can get a lot of different strategies depending on whereabouts you start. So certainly the grid that starts the race may well be very different to the end result. How some of your thoughts on what could be a very exciting race ahead?
Well, first off, in the immortal words of Jeremy Clarkson, we're back.
We are indeed.
Yeah, I think it could be quite interesting with this race. Obviously, you can get overtaking done here. 3 DRS zones, so all with heavy braking zones after them. So it's quite an easy track to get moves on, but we shall see. If you get stuck in the DRS strain, that can be the end of you.
I think it's also a track where you can put on 2 or 3 different types of setup and still be quite close to somebody else of a similar pace with a similar setup, similar running. So we could well see some who are a lot quicker in the middle sector, which is from turn 4 all the way to turn 12, that rather infamous turn 12 it must be said. Somebody gain maybe 3 or 4 tenths and then lose it all in the first and third sector. The first sector, which is just a kink after a sharp braking zone into turn 1, left-handed kink following a right, and then after that a right-handed corner into the heavy braking zone at turn 4, and the 3 corners, 3 apexes really of sector 3. So certainly a lot of people with a lot of different plans could make for an interesting blend. It's certainly different, I feel, as Montana goes across the line for a 1 minute 24.7. Certainly different to a Monaco or a Singapore, where setup is dictated for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah, obviously. So 11:11 at Monaco, or if you're Tier 2's resident Mr. P5, Dre Sebastian, that's 6:11 at Monaco.
Certainly getting a bit more overtaking done, isn't he? So just a few to just tick over at the moment. It's Montana on provisional pole, as he always seems to be, certainly being the fastest driver in his last 2 appearances. He's won 2 of the last 3 races. He wasn't here for Monaco, so he's got a 100% winning record in that time, and he's the championship leader, and certainly you would say the hot favourites coming into this weekend, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly. He's got a massive lead in the championship. I think it's 50 points
it is
from NSX Fruitful. So, looking like the favourite to take the championship for the minute, but he is downplaying himself. So.
Yeah, he was putting a lot of pressure on his other drivers, wasn't he? As Konzo comes across the line on soft on a whopping 26.9, I would suggest we'll be seeing certainly something a little bit different from him in the coming sessions. Might well have been a mistake. I know the Red Bull drivers had been practicing their toe, hadn't they, in the previous incarnation of this session, and so it might well be that they're trying to try that again as they run very, very close together. Konzo and Calzo brothers, aren't they, in that Red Bull team? A similar team to myself and my brother in McLaren EU3, although probably with a bit more of a success rate, it must be said. As we see now, we've got a couple of drivers coming across the line. Nobody, I think, they're all going into the pit lane at this moment in time. Fruitful and Thomas are the Williams drivers. That's Fruitful coming around the final corner, and into the pit lane. Bit of a lull in action now, as they've all got their first runs hopefully out the way, with the exception of Simply in the racing points and Donamo, the 2 who have timed it so that they do not get caught in any kind of traffic. I'm wondering here, well, what would you do if you were one of the drivers sort of towards the middle part, middle to end part of the top 10? So sort of from maybe 6 to 10 downwards, you're going to be vulnerable, aren't you, from the drivers behind on fresher tyres. Now, whether they decide to go one stopper for mediums to softs or medium hards, depending on how conservative they're going to be, or whether they try an aggressive two stopper. If you're on worn tyres, and they do wear out very quickly here, it's a very soft compound that they've got, you're going to be vulnerable, aren't you? Increasingly vulnerable to those behind, aren't you?
Well, yeah, you will be vulnerable, especially when your tyres die out and you've got these guys behind on mediums that just want to go. So should certainly be interesting to the guys sort of from 6th downwards to try and get away from the drivers starting outside the top 10, as Konzo has come back out on the same set of tyres.
It's an interesting tactic, isn't it? Maybe he's, nobody around him. I'm riding with Dynamo in the Renault. He's just in 13th at the moment, having not set a lap, and he's started to put together his first run. It looks like he may well be, with this amount of time, potentially saving a set of soft tyres in the event of a safety car. An unlikely event, it must be said. There's been none in EU3 or EU2 this weekend. So as he opens his DRS into that short, sharp burst down the back straight, heading into an awkward turn 9, it must be said. You sort of aim for the corner. It's very easy to understeer wide onto that curb, and that'll leave you very tight on entry to turn 11 and 12. Which is, of course, now the rather infamous, isn't it, for catching the unwary and the unstable out.
Off and blank.
Yes. So as we fire now down the back straight, it looks a clean lap from Dynamo. Is it a quick one? And the answer to that is yes. It goes 7th on a 1:25 flat, 3/10 off pole position, so not a lot between the drivers at this moment in time. It's a lap that's got a lot shorter since its first incarnation back in 2004, and when I say that I mean by time and not by distance. It's still the same original layout that they've driven on at every race except 2010, when they went on the endurance loop, I think it's fair to say, which added 10 corners but a lot of boredom during the 2010 Formula 1 Grand Prix. Very glad that we don't have to go around that anymore. As it's
2-minute lap.
Yes, it was a 2-minute lap, and a very long 2-minute lap. Certainly nothing as enthralling and entertaining as Spa is, which is the only one really that could be of any similar description. As Dynamo now opening his DRS out on his what will presumably be an in-lap. I've got Simply now coming into the final corner in his racing point in a rather vulnerable 10th place. He's going across the line and he's going straight into the pit, so he must have been validated there. Now it's Stumpy that's now going to cross the line, and he's starting his new lap.
Sorry to cut you up there, but his teammate just gone pole with a 1:24.592.
Spot on, you're a lot more eagle-eyed than I am. That's an excellent lap time from Charlie. Another man who's been fairly rapid in qualifying, it must be said, as Matrix now enters the pit lane. There's a yellow flag. I think it is turn 12. It's a Williams that has left the track and continued. So it must have caught the curb but saved it from the barriers. Let's just take a look. I think it might well have been Thomas. It's not Thomas, it's Fruitful, who may well have had the strife. It looks like he's okay and continuing. And there's rather a lot of traffic going into that final corner as the cars jostle for position. Fruitful now goes to start his lap.
Charlie getting out of the way of the EU2 Alfa Romeo driver Stumpy there. There's Stumpy coming round the infamous turn 12 now.
Negotiates that very well, doesn't he? Looks like he's got a good exit as well. Certainly all four wheels remain inside the white line, or at least enough of them do, as he now fires himself down into that awkward final braking point, really. It's a double apex, isn't it? But you don't really notice that second one as he fires himself now straight line for the path of least resistance, and he goes 15th on a 1:25.6. Still certainly in the race. He's only half a second off of 10th place go, so the track will rubber in. So I wouldn't be too disheartened with that if I was Stumpy. I think there's still plenty of life left in his session this evening. Now we've got a Ferrari that's just crossing the line now. I think it might well be Ghostie's pitting as well, so we're going to cut to the Mercedes, and that is Vaporizer now as he gets into that final corner. Very wide entry, so we can get the best exit out. And here he goes now across the line. He's fourth at the moment. He goes pole. That's an excellent lap time. That's a 1 minute 24.470. A tenth clear of Charlie, and just over 2 clear of his teammate Montana. That's an excellent lap time from Vaporizer. And his teammate, yes, he's in the final corner.
The final corner now.
The
DRS wide open.
And yes, Montana's Joy is, well, it's second place. He's locked out the front row so far with Vaporizer, but usually it's the other way around. So Vaporizer upsetting the apple cart somewhat with his teammates and championship leader Montana.
And I'll be interested to see if any of these guys choose to run out of sync. Because I think Slater is doing just that, and possibly Charlie as well.
Well, let's take a look at Slater. Let's try and find him on the map. And he is now. He's on. They are the soft. Every driver's on soft tyres. Have you noticed? So nobody's looking to purposely start outside the top 10. They all want to be in there. So having completely different schools of thought to what we were discussing earlier, where, you know, if you could well be quite vulnerable, couldn't you, if you are on row 4 or row 5. No one's conforming to that school of thought. Now we've got Big Slater, haven't we? He's 6th place at the moment, so he's doing just nicely. He's half a second off of Vaporizer, and like you say, he's running out of sync. This is probably going to be his final lap. I'd be very impressed if he got round. Well, I don't think he will do, because it's 3 minutes from now to get into the pits. By that point, it'll be 1 minute 25. He won't be able to get back out again. And it looks like a solid.
There is always that quality time glitch. So the Stumpy retires in the pit lane.
Satisfied with 15th, I believe. You're keeping a couple of soft tyres, aren't you? A couple of sets of soft tyres. Which is, when you're back there, you may as well gamble, or mightn't you? You might as well just sort of gamble and say, right, my pace isn't quite in the top 10, I might as well try and play the long game. And if you have kept a load of soft tyres free, especially if you're at the back or towards the back, then you know you're back in the conversation, aren't you?
Yeah, indeed. Slater has invalidated his lap, I believe, or he's backed out of it. So
yeah, just looking through here, it does look fairly slow from Slater. The good thing is, though, that it's not too late, that you can just pit, put on a set of softs and go again. So all is not lost for the Irishman, who's had a mixed run of form of late. He was very impressive in Monaco and in Spa, and at Vietnam it was a bit so-so for him. He eventually came through and finished well, but it was certainly a journey to get there. Now, yeah, you're right, he has backed out for one reason or another, isn't he? So,
but here comes Charlie. He's got possibly a tow from his teammate. Maybe just catching the edges of that toe, but
yeah, not sure how helpful that'll be into a braking zone.
He comes in, so
pitted, so obviously something
clearly
is missed.
Dissatisfied, yeah.
I think everybody's in apart from Thomas, who's on an outlap, and Don Ammo, who's on an outlap. Let's go and view those quickly. Very easy to switch to those two. They're the only two drivers out on track. It's he's going to get. I don't think Charlie's going to make it out, because it takes on this game it takes about a minute to get you into the pits if you've come in behind your teammate. I think that's Charlie's qualifying done. So third is really the best he can hope for now. Here's Thomas on his lap, just into the second sector now through that sort of fiddly turn 5, turn 6. He's backed out as well, so I would suggest he's going to save his tyres and go again. But he's going to have to do a lot of tyre saving, certainly a lot of fuel saving, because that'll be running on fumes. So we now go to Don Ammo, who's probably the next driver really to begin a lap. So let's go to Don Ammo now in the Renault, running in 8th at the moment. So he's certainly going to want to get himself a little bit up the grid to protect himself from the fast starting 11th, 12th and 13th place cars, whoever they may be, because they'll be on fresher tyres. So as he gets himself now out of turn 3, looks like a clean exit, certainly as wide as he possibly can be. And yeah, he's got a queue of cars behind.
Well, I'm not quite sure what that surface is on the outside of the track there.
It's not the grippiest. It extends track. It's certainly not the worst, but it's not the. For me, anyway, when I try and turn it, it upsets the car a little bit. So, but these are EU1s. They can probably deal with it a lot better than you or I could. As he now opens his DRS, he's probably going to be the first one to finish his session, so we might as well stick with him. And he's passed a Mercedes and an AlphaTauri on this lap. He's had a bit of traffic to contend with. I don't think it's affected him too much, though. Gives turn 11 and turn 12 a bit of a wide berth, doesn't he?
Yeah, staying away from that curve, which is
he nearly invalidated.
The smartest he could possibly do, is he?
Don't quite know why he's wandering all the way there. It's not going to have given him much, but
top behind the Mercedes, though.
He's going to give the Mercedes a lovely start to his lap, isn't he? As he goes across the line, it's 6th place, a 1 minute 24.9, and that's his session completed. Now he's going to have to get right out of the way one way or another, and he does quite dutifully, to be honest. Very well done from Dynamo, as Vaporizer and Montana both begin their laps. The Mercedes duo, who currently have a firm grip on the front row. Going to go straight to Montana, if I may, because he's the championship leader and probably the person you would suggest probably best placed to take pole position, despite the fact that Vaporizer's on pole position. I'm sure I'm not doing him a disservice. Vaporizer's admitted that himself. So here comes Montana now into this tricky double left-hander. You're on the brakes, but you can't turn too much because you'll lock up and go straight on. But if you don't brake enough, then you go in on a one-way ticket to the wall. That's certainly a very uncomfortable corner. Now, as he gets into this rather awkward turn 9, turn 10, very easy to understeer wide there. Looks like he's managed to avoid doing just that now. Goes rather round the infamous blank curve. He's negotiated that safely too. Now, what can he do? Just inside the white line, so he's going to continue now as he gets to the final braking zone on the lap. Now, this is where the lap can be made or lost. As NSX Fruitful in the Williams goes fastest on a 1 minute 24.3. Mercedes are under threat here. What can Montana do? On a 1 minute 24.5, he goes second. He's half a tenth slower than Fruitful. He's got Vaporizer just behind him, who goes second. He's managed to split them. He's 9 thousandths of a second faster than Montana, and a further 400 slower than Fruitful. An excellent lap for the Williams. We missed it because we were watching the Mercedes. That's my fault. But it looks like he saved himself now. What can Charlie do? He's coming into the final corner now. He's fifth. He's probably the next car that's best placed to take. He's just about got out, so it must have been a very quick turnaround. Firing himself now into the final corner as wide as he possibly can. Kisses the apex well. Keeps himself well within track limits. DRS open. Where can he go? He needs 2 tenths. Doesn't get them. Doesn't get 2 tenths. And he stays fifth. I think that's everything. Dynamo's pitted. Obviously, he completed his lap a lot earlier. Everyone else has crossed the line, and it looks like it's status quo, doesn't it? Jacob's got himself up to 10th. Yorno in the AlphaTauri is probably the happiest of the midfield drivers, isn't he, in 11th?
He gets definitely, and I would be as well with this position.
Yeah, starting 10th in EU2 last night was a bit of a poison chalice for myself last night, so I can speak from experience. He will be very pleased with that, as we now ride on Charlie for 5th place as we end the session now. That was an excellent qualifying session. I wasn't expecting that at all from Fruitful. He's been quick this season, but generally the Mercedes have had the edge. It's an enticing top 5, isn't it? Look at that. Covered by 3 tenths of a second less than. Fruitful on pole ahead of Vaporizer and Montana in the Mercedes. Bolin in the McLaren, flying the McLaren flag high, the only man to do so, in 4th, ahead of Charlie in 5th. J Ghost is 6th in his Ferrari, ahead of Big Slater in 7th. Dynamo in 8th, the Swiss driver in the Renault, ending his session early, ahead of Calzo in 9th place for Red Bull. Jacob in the Haas, rounding out the top 10, ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Well played. Sum that up. That was entertaining, every bit as entertaining really as we thought it was going to be. Certainly a surprise result and a fascinating one. 3 tenths covering the top 5 means there's going to be a bit of toing and froing, I feel. Certainly going to be very difficult to break that DRS train, isn't it?
Yeah, very difficult for well, for the guys behind to eventually overtake, but this is EU1. You never know what's going to happen in EU1.
I think if you're running a low downforce setup, I think you're in the pound seats, aren't you? Because if you are running a very low downforce setup, which is normally a hallmark of EU2, then you're going to be an absolute bullet in the straight, and if you're behind somebody, very hard to stop, and if you're ahead of somebody, very difficult to overhaul. So the race is starting already, slightly faster than one would expect, but my timekeeping is not great. Normally it's a minimum of 1 minute. It's Charlie, Fruitful, Thomas and Boland amongst the early drivers to go, and certainly a very interesting race ahead of us at this Sakir International Grand Prix circuit in Bahrain. Has been an almost ever-present on the calendar since 2004. The first race won by Michael Schumacher. There you see the insights powered by AWS, that now famous graphic telling us that it's likely to be a two-stopper. I'm not so sure it will be, to be honest. I think that might be the fastest way, but I don't think that's the most efficient way, as you've got to negotiate traffic there too. So,
like I said though, it's not the most difficult track to overtake on, so depending on pace, a two-stop could work.
No, certainly. If you can get past and get past quickly, then the two-stop may well work, but you have to be very aggressive with it. Fruitful, the early leader, obviously leading them around. Certainly doesn't seem to be too many gaps. So we've got Ferrari Matrix, who failed, to my eyes, to set a time. He's starting on hard tyres. Let's take a look at the drivers now, as to see exactly which tyres they're starting on. And it's a mixed bag, really, isn't it? From 10th up to 10th, we're all starting on the soft tyres. Only simply in the Force India, the Racing Points they're now called, outside the top 10 is starting on soft. A lot of drivers committing to that one stop by starting on the hard tyres. That's NSX Mads in the Alfa Romeo, and the Ferrari of Matrix are both starting on hard tyres. And you've got 4 medium runners, including an out of position Thomas, Stumpy, the reserve from EU2, Konzo in the Red Bull, and 11th place Yorno in the Alpha Tauri. Now there's 2 ways really that you can go with those mediums. Some have been taking them to about lap 18, lap 19, to pit and put on a set of fresh softs. Some have stopped a bit earlier and put on hard tyres, got for a bit more, made sure they got there. It all depends really on how well you can deal with that tyre wear that will occur at the midway point of the race, but certainly I think you're going to see 2 stoppers potentially from the drivers out front, but a lot of 1 stoppers are going to make themselves known as we build up now to the start of the race. Let's just get into a better view, because it's not great whichever way you go, is it, the broadcast? Looking at this, I've got Fruitful and I've got a back end view as we go now for the 5 red lights. They're all in position. And the revs build up. And it's go! That's a great start from Vaporizer. I think he's got Fruitful off the line. No, Fruitful manages to recover it, but it's a great early launch from Vaporizer. Montana and Bolin go down the inside. I think the McLaren's got Montana, so has Charlie now. An awful start for Montana, who's dropped his way back to 6th. He's got Calzo challenging him. Manages to recover that from the Red Bull, but it's Fruitful who leads in the Williams. He's ahead now of Vaporizer, who's got away from Bolin. Bolin's battling with Charlie now for 3rd place. I think Charlie's got him into the 4th corner. An awful start for our championship leader as the field sort themselves out now. Bolin's coming back at Charlie, and he's going to have to go around the long way, but if he can stay there, he's going to have the inside for the double left-hander. I think he might well have to give this up, Charlie. No, he doesn't. Brakes very late, and it's still there on the exit, but Bolin finally gets past. And all the while, that's going to allow the 2 leaders to get away. The gap is already 1.1 seconds between Vaporizer and Bolin, while Fruitful leads by 0.6 of a second in the Williams. Well, that was action-packed, wasn't it, Blades?
Oh, and Montana off the track. Oh, this is a very dangerous rejoin from the Mercedes driver.
I must admit, I missed that totally. So the stewards may well have a look at that. They're 3 wide going into the final corner. Oh my goodness me!
A massive accident.
Oh dearie me. That's
Massive
Charlie
accident.
out of the race already. That's Montana minus the front wing. That has to be a safety car, surely. Certainly, Fruitful's pitted. That might just be a great call. We were saying that there's not been any safety cars in the EU2 and the EU3, and straight away on lap 1 we've got one. I must say, I thought that was always going to end in tears with the Red Bull alongside making it 3 wide. Was it just a case of maybe one driver not getting his bearings too much?
It was a very weird accident. It looked to me, from the way Charlie went into the wall, that Montana possibly turned him in there.
Do you think
I don't like to comment, so...
No, well, yeah, I mean, this is your stage. As long as you don't say anything that you later regret, I think you can say anything you like. Certainly, 6 drivers are pitted, and that's a very disgruntled Charlie. He was looking excellent, wasn't he, at the start of the race, and he did a lot of pace. And it's all gone Pete Tong for him in the first lap, really. He's gone from what was, 3rd place to in the barrier and out of the race, as we've got now. Go back to Vaporizer, we've got Calzo as the top 2. Yorno and Thomas, they're going to be sitting pretty, aren't they, on those medium tyres? They've done almost no laps on them at all, and they've gained themselves, heaps of positions. I think Yorno, just going to check this now. So if we just go for detail, position change, yeah, we've got Thomas up 11 from 15th and Yorno up 8 from 11th place. Big Slater's another man that's moved up. He had a bit of a troublesome opening lap, it must be said, but he's moved up from 7th, so he's looking good. But he is on those soft tyres. It might well have been a better call for him to pit, but still hope for him. And I think in 6th place you've got Simply and Conzo, Matrix. They're all drivers who've gained heavily out of this safety car situation, aren't they? It's effectively reset the race, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it certainly looks like it. And I have to say, for the front runner who didn't come in, that is the one stop straight in the bin.
It could well be, although they're not going to be doing full pace, aren't they? And you can, some people are better than this than others, you can look after your tyres quite well behind the safety car. As long as you're not too aggressive with your tyre warming, you can look after them quite well. So this might just extend that period, that opening pit stop window, and they might be able to either go on to hards, or if they're feeling brave, maybe get to lap 10 or 11 and put on a set of mediums. They can get to the end, but they'll be very slow at the end of each stint, won't they? Yeah,
once the tyres go here, they really go. Like, it's not like some other tracks where the tyres will come back to you and you'll sort of 7-8 laps in, you'll start to feel them going, and then on lap 11 of your stint they'll sort of come back and you'll gain your pace back. But once they go at Bahrain, they go.
I think the big problem here is it's a really limited track, isn't it? We've got the softest compounds here, if I'm not mistaken, and they're under a lot of stress, aren't they? So when you've got those,
very high tyre wear indeed. So,
and like you say, when they go, especially when you need good rear grip to be able to defend, there's not a lot as a driver that you can do. You have to sort of cleverly use your ERS, your overtake button, and hope that you're able to get going from there and maybe hold them off further down the line. Does look like the safety car is in, the lights are out. Vaporizer's backing them up just as his teammate catches up all the way back in 16th, Montana. And when's he going to choose the moment to go? It's probably going to have to be quite far out of the exit, I would suggest, of the final corner at turn 15. Oh, looks like he's totally disregarded that, and he's gone already. So that's an excellent restart. He's got 6 tenths on Calzo, 7 tenths now. Calzo's lost a bit of time. Yorno's right with him. Yorno's had an excellent restart, and so's Thomas behind him. Now, no DRS for the next couple of laps. Looks like Yorno still, he's only now using his overtake. I think it's because he's defending from Thomas, who in turn defends from Slater. And it's status quo very much as they complete the overlap. Certainly not quite as much drama so far as the opening lap.
And that was a bit squirmy on the exit of turn 2 for Yorno. Almost slipping back into the clutches of Thomas in P4. But
yeah, it cost him quite a bit of time, didn't it? Quite a bit of time. He was all over the back of Calzo. He's now back to 1.1 seconds back. He's now got Thomas to think about behind now. The Williams driver out of position on the grid, you'd have to say, in 15th, wouldn't you? And he's looking to certainly make hay, although he's also looking to hold his position because that's a very racy Big Slater, a man who had a lot of difficulties on the opening lap, and he sets himself down the inside and through he goes. I don't think that's going to be of any concern to Thomas just yet, but he won't want to be losing too many of those places because it will upset the rhythm. Excellent move from the Irishman. He's now going to be setting himself up as far up the road as he can possibly go, Blades.
Well, yeah, obviously you'd like to think Slater just wants to burst through now on those soft tyres, get as far away as he can, and then make his one pit stop.
He's not a man to hang around, so I would suggest that once he does get onto the back of Yorno, he's already only half a second back. I would suggest that Yorno, the Dutchman, maybe not this lap, but certainly next lap, will be in a spot of bother. As you've got Thomas now coming down the inside. Is he? No, not quite of Simply. I think Simply's actually got past him, so it's not been a great lap for Thomas, but it's all about playing the long game, I would suggest. And I think further moves include Matrix, who's rather gone backwards since his restart. Has dropped himself all the way back to 12th. That's fruitful. It was not only going for a move on him, but going for a move on Stumpy. The EU2 reserve certainly getting involved in the Alfa Romeo. So we've got now quite a queue of cars behind. I think this could be a bit of a cork in the bottle situation. I don't think those hards are working very well for Matrix at all. He may well have pitted, but no, he stayed loyal to those hard tyres, but he's lost, I think it's 6 places, hasn't he? Since the opening round, or since the restart. It's been an awful opening, or secondary couple of laps, it must be said now, for the Ferrari, in what is quite a mirror of 2020 in real life, isn't it, Blades?
Well, yeah, it is, if I'm honest. I wouldn't want to annoy the Ferrari fans in the chat, but certainly not the best of seasons for them in real life.
I'm sure they won't disagree with you, as DRS is enabled, but it's not a problem for Vaporizer. He's 1.3 seconds now clear of Calzo. The man from Scotland is holding his own in second place. Nothing to worry about from Jorno behind, but I think Jorno's got Big Slater to worry about. Big Slater's going to have DRS into turn 4, and I don't think he's going to want to hang about. He's got his overtake open, DRS open. Is he going to get down into the inside? We can't see because of the camera angle. No, he's not. He holds position at the moment. It's a matter of when, not if, isn't it, for Big Slater? He's got a lot more speed, and for limited time only, he's got a lot more grip, hasn't he?
He certainly does on those soft tyres. It'll be nice and warm for him to try and make a move on Yorno down this back straight.
Yeah, he's got to really work on his exit though, isn't he? He can't get too bogged down with trying to get him into the corner. He's got to really work on that exit. It looks like he's got a decent exit. So's Yorno, to be fair to him. I don't think it's going to be into this corner. I think if he's patient though, and it doesn't look like he is being, because he's not used overtake at all down there, then I think it's going to be probably into turn 1. We'll stay with it for the time being because Big Slater is looking a lot faster. So I think we've got, really, haven't we? We've got 2 trains behind the opening behind the lead duo. Yorno's dropping back quite a rate of knots from the top 2. He's got himself a bit of a train behind, as we see Big Slater going down the inside, and yeah, that was about as easy as you'd expect in Formula 1, wouldn't it? DRS wide open, a little push of the button, fresher tyres, confidence on the brakes, and oh, he does lose it. Oh my goodness me, that's a Red Bull, that's Calzo. He was second. What's happened there? Calzo spun on the exit of the 3rd corner. Now, he was running in second place. He's got it back going again as far as I can see. I think he's in 10th. No, he isn't. He's slipping all the way back now. Those tyres are going to be horrible as the Ferrari of Ghosts nearly runs into him. Well, goodness me, it's all happening here, isn't it? There seems to be a lot of tyre issues, I would suggest, causing havoc for these EU1 drivers. These are the best of the best. They're being made to look a bit daft, some of them, on some occasions. Now, as I think Calzo's gathered himself, but he's also gathered a bit of a queue behind him as Fruitful, Ammo, Ghost are all looking to get past the Scotsman.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Fruitful was leading the race. He's all the way back in 14th. I've no idea what's happened, but maybe an accident. He's missing front wing. He's Fruitful.
He's also got medium tyres on, so he did pit, didn't he? But he is missing. Yeah.
Yeah, he pitted.
Yeah, he's missing front wing.
Missing that right end plate.
I'll check that for you. We have hopefully got TAS up and running. It was yeah, it was ruined a little bit by the opening or by the earlier issues, but I think we have got it back going again. And yeah, it's been a bit of a disaster, really, hasn't it? He's put himself back into traffic. It was looking like Vaporizer's the smarter strategy at the moment, because that damaged front wing is going to be giving Fruitful hell and all pain, especially towards the end of the stint. I suppose the one thing he can do is more than likely split the strategy, go on to mediums halfway through, so potentially maybe onto lap 14 or 15, change his front wing and go from there and try and salvage. I think meanwhile the softer advantage is starting to wane. Giorno is all over Slater like a cheap suit, having earlier been much slower than the competitive Irishman. I don't think that the soft tyres are going to hang on much longer. We're now on lap 8. It's about that time really when they'd be crying enough. So I think, Blades, we're going to start to see another reshuffling of the pack, aren't we?
I believe we are. So Giorno is going to be looking to get past Slater now. Slater, massive gap in front to Vaporizer, so once Giorno gets past, he'll be in clear air.
It's 4 seconds, isn't it? But I think he's not losing an awful lot to Vaporizer. I think he's going to be Vaporizer's new best friend for as long as he holds Giorno on. We're on board with Giorno to some degree, and he isn't making the impact, is he? There's a Red Bull that's going to pits. That must be and is Calzo. He's had enough of those softs after his earlier skirmish. And what can Giorno do now? DRS open. Not using as much of the battery as I was expecting, to be honest. Slater's used a lot, to be perfectly honest, to get away, so maybe he's been sort of trying to hang on, and I think it might be a rather vain battle, to be honest. I don't think it's going to last too much longer. I think the Haas might be peeling into the pits if he doesn't see position within the next 2 or 3 laps. Got some further action back. There's yellow flags. It's Don Ammo who's in strife in the Renault. He was running in about 8th position. I think, must have ran wide coming out the final, or coming out that turn 7. And he's gone well off into the weeds, but he's recovered. So he's 13th now, ahead of Mads on another man on those aging hards. And I think Mads has now got Don Ammo. So, yeah, a bit of a...
I hadn't noticed before, but Bolin has snuck up onto the back of Giorno now. So, Giorno will be immediately put under pressure from behind now.
Yeah, I think they're all under a bit of pressure, aren't they? From, well, they're all concertinaing up behind Slater. Slater, who's looking very vulnerable, it must be said. As Giorno goes around the outside, Slater goes defensive very early, and he's got him on the brakes so far, but Giorno can hang it around the outside. He does, but not for much longer. So Slater cuts across, and that leaves Giorno.
Well,
yeah, leaves Giorno very vulnerable. Bolin's now coming around the outside. His route's blocked somewhat, though, by Slater. They're going side by side. Oh, that was always going to end in tears, you felt. And Giorno spins around now, having got together with Slater. It looked like it was side pod to side pod. What's your views on that? What's your views on that, Blade?
Wistful sigh from an AlphaTauri driver in the commentary box there.
Yeah, as a McLaren representative, I'm fairly happy to see Bolin up there. What's your thoughts there? Could maybe Slater have given a bit more space?
maybe a bit more space, but I think it's wheel to wheel racing that happens sometimes. Slater looked like he had the corner. So.
Yeah, it's a feature of Turn 4, isn't it? If you get so far alongside each other, a little tap unloads the car and spins it backwards. We saw it with Vettel, didn't we, a couple of years back? And we see now Slater, who is starting to catch up to Vaporizer in all of this. Whether Vaporizer's called himself off, I don't know. But, yeah, no, I think
Slater in behind.
Slater's pitted. They've had enough of this. I think they might be going on to mediums to the end. So this is where Matrix, meanwhile, has a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting on his hard tyres. It's really not worked out for him since the safety car at all, has it? The Finn and the Ferrari. We've got Bolin now leading ahead of Thomas, the Williams, who's been quietly going about his business, isn't he? All the way up from 15th. He's now running second place and running very well, thank you very much. So these drivers all on the medium tyres. Okay, they're 2 laps older than Bolin, but he can still potentially undercut. I know he didn't use many softs at all in qualifying, certainly had a couple of poor runs. And yeah, this is where the race is won and lost for me, because I think it is now going to be an effective one-stopper. Obviously, you know, you stop at the end of lap 1 behind the safety car. This is now where that one stop, if you like, strategy comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Bolin's certainly in prime position now. Can do what he likes pretty much if he feels he's confident enough on stretching the mediums.
I think with your
certainly do that.
I think with Yorno out the way, I think his task has got that much easier, because Yorno was on used mediums, wasn't it? Or certainly older mediums. Even by a couple of laps, it does make a difference here. And I think Bolin, one of the quickest drivers on the grid anyway, is able to stretch his legs. He's certainly got a couple of tenths on Thomas this time around. And Conzo in the Red Bull. Thomas has pitted. Oh, he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Thomas has pitted, presumably to try and get an undercut, or to try and cover off what the Haas of Slater and Vaporizer were doing. He's gone on to hard tyres, so he thinks the way to go is medium hard. Unfortunately, he's going to have 5 seconds added to his time, so he's going to get on with it. He's joined in the pit lane by Conzo, who did not, to my knowledge, have a 5-second penalty. But yeah, these drivers are going on to hard. If you're the McLaren of Bolin, I know you've got that 5-second buffer, but you may want to stretch it out and go on to soft tyres. As Big Slater comes out right behind Thomas, and Thomas has jumped Big Slater for the time being. And no, he hasn't, because Slater's just gone clean around the outside with DRS. That's very much the curse of the commentator, isn't it, Blade?
Well, very much so, yeah. I think if you're Bolin now, it's a case of, are you confident enough to stretch the mediums and then go back to softs? You've got Montana behind on the same strategy, so...
It's worked out, for a man who was involved in the pivotal moment in the opening exchange, it's worked out quite well for Montana, isn't it? It's put him to the back, but he has made his way through, and with 9-lap-old mediums, you've got a little bit more leeway. If you're Yorno in the, what will be worn now, 11-lap-old tyres, you're going to be a bit more marginal. Add to that the fact that, well, Yorno agrees with me because he's coming into the pit lane. Add to that the fact that obviously he's spun and, you know, skated off with his tyres across the track, and it makes those tyres a little bit more vulnerable. His Stumpy, meanwhile, he's 5th place behind Ghosts on the same medium tyres that he started with. Vaporizer sets the fastest lap on a 1 minute 29.3 on hard tyres, which is pace that you and I could only dream of, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not gonna lie. Probably true, if I'm honest. But
we've got now, we're going to go straight back to Bolin now. Just follow the leader for the time being. He's 1.8 seconds clear of Montana. Montana, he's sticking with him, isn't he? He's sticking with him. Certainly going to keep the McLaren of Bolin honest out front. I don't know whether the stewards might have a little talk about that opening lap, because 3 wide and 1 ending in the wall is never what you want to see in the top tier of the EU Contest Speed Championship. Obviously, it was a racing accident, but we'll put an asterisk next to Montana's name for the time being and just see exactly how he progresses here. He's taken a couple of tenths out of Bolin this lap. and he's got Jacob in the Haas following, only 8 tenths behind. I wouldn't count Jacob out here for some decent points here either.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Jacob is well, one of me and Nat like to call contest of speed success stories. He's made his way all the way from tier 3 up to tier 1, and looking at his position, I'd say he'll be happy with himself and his progress within the league.
He's a man that loves to come back too. He had a bit of a recovery job at Spa, which he completed with the aid of a safety car, but he completed and got good points for Haas. And yeah, as we just see it fruitful in the Williams, it's gone from bad to worse for Williams, isn't it? This opening half of the race. We're only halfway through, but fruitful. 16th, and has now accrued a 3-second time penalty. So that's going to go into his time, you would think, with hard tyres towards the end of the race, which means he's going to get some overtaking done. He's on 3-lap old hards as well, whereas drivers ahead of him, with the exception of Calzo, are all on newer hards. So a difficult race for the Williams after it started also well with that pole position. It really hasn't worked out since he decided to pit, Blades, has it?
It really hasn't. I suppose he had to pit because of his wing damage, but yeah, certainly gone from bad to worse for the Dutchman.
And yeah, quite a few. Speaking of Dutchmen, there's a couple of Dutchmen who are expressing a bit of sympathy, I think, for their compatriot Thomas in the Williams. They saw that he got his 5-second time penalty, which he'll have at the end of the race. He's 12th, so all is not lost, but he is half a second and stagnated behind Big Slater in the Haas. So Big Slater, a man who's tough to pass anyway, he's a difficult customer, as you all know, found out, and certainly he's rather providing a bit of a nuisance, I think it's fair to say, for Thomas.
Yeah, he's Slater not a slow driver at all, so should be interested to see how Thomas handles the Irishman in front of him.
No, he certainly is.
In fact, Scott behind him.
Yes.
With Conzo just in DRS range now. So.
Yes, exactly. It started to become a bit of a train, isn't it? With Yorno probably about 4 seconds behind and not making much of an impact, it must be said. But certainly it's all starting to close up a bit as they're starting to lose a bit of touch with Simply in the at the moment the final points playing position. But you would think that when the stops ahead of them shake out, that won't be so much of an issue. We've got Bolin now on 12-lap old mediums on lap 15. This is about the point really where you get to the crossover. Do you split the strategy in half, or do you stretch it and go to mediums? Go to soft, sorry. Well, Montana's decided to split it in half and go on to mediums, it would appear, with 14 laps to go. Now, for the McLaren, what do you do? Do you stay out there and try and avoid the traffic for a little bit? And there is going to be traffic as Jacob, Ghosts and Stumpy all pit. So Dynamo now moves up into second place, albeit quite far off the lead and certainly out of kilter after his earlier skirmish. You've got Vaporizer now on hard tyres, so you've got Montana now who's come out onto mediums. Just looking at this, Jacob's now on hard tyres. Jacob's gone to hard tyres? That's a bold call.
Very interesting.
Unless he started he started 10th, didn't he, Jacob? Memory serves, so he would have been on softs anyway. Yeah, unless there's been an error, that's a strange one for me. So
I have one for basically Matt and Danny, if they're watching. Jacob is on a strategy that we like to call codename Rainbow.
Going through all the different colours, going from soft to medium to hard.
He is doing that currently.
I like it.
To stay out on the hards.
I like it. Well, there's no reason for him to pit again unless the safety car makes another appearance. We're on board with Bolin. It looks like he's going to go for another couple of laps. He's passed the pit lane this time round. It looks like he's going to go and try and put on a set of soft tyres within the next couple of laps. He's 14 seconds clear of Dynamo behind, and I think it was probably the right call because Montana has got himself stuck behind Simply. Simply's on hard tyres and going to the end. So if unless Montana can get past Simply quickly, and no, that's Mads. So that's put me out of kill. So Montana has got past Simply now. But how much time will that have cost him, Blades? Because here the undercut's so powerful that if you're stuck behind somebody, you can really lose a lot of time, can't you?
Yeah, you can indeed, but well, I think he'll be able to avoid any trouble as long as he keeps up the pace he's showing. So,
well, he's 21.6 seconds behind. That's there or thereabouts about a pit stop, isn't it, Montana? So he has probably gained at the moment. But if Bolin comes in now and puts on soft tyres, then you'd make him the hot favourite, wouldn't you? I think he holds all the cards because he's out in clear air at the moment and he's making sure that he's driving at such a pace that he'll drop himself back in either right behind Montana, who isn't far behind Vaporizer at all, and Simply, yeah, he's going for another lap. So you would think. Go on, Blade.
As you said last night, coming out on fresh softs with 10 laps to go, he'll be flying. So I think that's the strategy Bolin's going to look for.
Especially if he's kept a setback. We don't know whether he has or not. But if he has kept a setback, as Montana goes through on a 1 minute 27.8, I'll just compare that, if I may, to Bolin. Bolin at the moment on a 1 minute 29.7, so the gap is coming down. You can see that it's gone down 1.8 seconds in the lap or so that we've been riding with Bolin. But for how long? Because as I did say, and as you've said, you'll be very quick on the soft tyres come the end of the race. So
yeah, especially compared to Montana's mediums, just depends how quickly he can how early he's going to stop, and then how quickly he can gain back to Vaporizer and Montana.
Well, Vaporizer won't be a problem for Montana. He won't be. They've played the team game really well this season, Mercedes, and Vaporizer has been very dutiful. He's been very quick and he's not moved over unnecessarily, but he's been very dutiful. And I think there's your answer. Bolin's coming in. He thinks he can get soft to the end, I would suggest. Oh, he knocks up. He just about makes the limiter. As we see now, we're going to go back to Montana and see exactly how this shakes out. Montana's going to be ahead, but I think it's going to be closer than he would have hoped. Now, he's 2 seconds behind his teammate, crossing the line. The McLaren's left his pit box. So Vaporizer gets past. Montana gets past. Does Simply get past? I think he might just clear No, I don't think he is. He's going to come out right back into traffic. So he's got Simply and Big Slater, I think. So let's just go back to Big Slater and see. Yes, he's just ahead of Bolin. Bolin's got to get his skates on now because Montana is 5 seconds ahead, but 3 cars ahead, sorry. Make that 2 because the McLaren's just got past Slater like he wasn't there. And now he sets off in hot pursuit. This is going to be an entertaining last 10 laps, Blaze. I'm really looking forward to this. This could be quite fun.
Already Bolin's all over the back of Simply. All over him like a cheap suit. He's going to go for the move before the corner.
Well, who needs the RS?
All
Goodness
the way
me.
around the outside.
Got him. Straight away. This is box office. This is a box office outlap from Bolin. He's now gone from 5th to 3rd, and he's in hot pursuit of Montana and Vaporizer. Now, Vaporizer is just now within DRS of Montana. Sorry, that should be the other way around. Montana's now within DRS of Vaporizer. Vaporizer's not going to make it difficult for Montana, but it's about now how quickly can Bolin catch up. He's already taken half a second out of him since he's cleared Simply. He's got 1.3 seconds up the road from Simply already. 2 seconds from Slater, and he only passed him at turn 4. This is going to be really fun, this is.
It's going to be a fantastic end to a fantastic race.
Certainly been action-packed, hasn't it? As the Mercedes still line astern, still as they were. Vaporizer is clear of Montana. Now, at what point does the swap happen? It does look like that it's going to happen quite soon because Montana is catching up. And he's going to be nervous now because the gap's gone from 6 to 4 seconds between the two. This is outrageous from Bolin, isn't it? I mean, that outlap is probably one of the best I've seen for a long time. And it all now depends on how quickly he gets up to the back of these. If at this rate, he'll be there within 2 laps, and at that point, he'll have autonomy, really, won't he, to stay behind and save his tyres, or attack and get up the road. Dynamo's retired from the pit lane, retired from the race in the pit lane to bring an end to a rather miserable day for Renault. He had just got a 3-second time penalty and had, politely put, no hope of scoring any points. So that brings an end to... It's been a difficult week for Renault, isn't it? You've had, obviously, Jonathan Cox having his accident yesterday, one high up, and a solid 8th place from Roland in EU3. But it's been a rather poor week for Renault, isn't it? And it's not been their season. Here comes Montana now, 3/10 behind Vaporizer. Here's where the swap's going to happen, I think, Blades. As, yep, formation flying, easily done. And Vaporizer now is going to have to be the most aggressive rear gunner, I think, that Mercedes have had for quite some time, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly will have to be a really aggressive rear gunner. Bolin is absolutely flying on this strategy. So...
2.5
gap already
seconds.
down to 2.5, and it keeps coming down. Thomas
We've got Thomas in the wall, I think. Thomas is in the wall. Safety car. Oh, this is good news if you're Bolin, isn't it? He's just gone on to fresh softs. That closed them right up. Now, with your Mercedes, do you stick or do you twist? You've got Montana on mediums. He'll stick. He'll stay on those tyres, you would think. He's just going to have to bat Bolin away. But Vaporizer on hard, as are a lot of drivers. They're going to be very vulnerable, aren't they? There's going to be a few outside the points who pit. And, yeah, it's another miserable day, isn't it, for Williams, for Thomas and for Fruitful. It's not been their race at all. And that rather caps it, doesn't it? So, safety car will probably be out for a couple of laps. And that'll leave us 5 laps of absolute mayhem. If you're the McLaren of Bolin, though, you really are in the pound seat. Those soft tyres have been used and abused for the last 2 laps, and he's going to get a chance to call them off and go again, isn't he?
Well,
so what do you do?
I'm pretty sure Vaporizer's going to box.
I don't think he's got a choice. Yeah, he has.
They both box. They're both in.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Vaporizers, yeah, he slows down as much as he can. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Not many others. Well, we've got Simply and Big Slater. They've also pitted. I think it's going to be a case of everybody in. As we see, yes, no, the Williams of Fruitful, Yorno, Ghosts, Konzo, Jacobs going to have to queue behind Slater as well. You've got Stumpy in for the Alfa Romeo. He might be on for some points once all the stacking's finished. You've got Mads behind him as well. And Matrix, surely if you're in the Ferrari you must gamble and just pit, see what happens. The 2 Red Bulls have been held up as well. And that is Calzo has been held up by his brother Konzo. And they're all on soft tyres, including now Mads. So everyone's on softs. Bolin's the only one who's going to be on slightly fresher soft, and he's got Montana behind him now on, unused super soft. So the pendulum might swing again.
Just reading through the chat during the safety car period. Apparently Thomas has an intense hate for Bahrain, and this is only fueling it.
Well, I would suggest that he and Bahrain have not been getting on. It's certainly not been his race. Starting, way down in 15th, coming through the field, and then getting his 5-second penalty to put him right back in the midfield, and then that caps it, really, doesn't it? I think it's fair to say that Thomas and Bahrain they aren't going to be friends, are they?
Definitely not. And just according to Robert, an intense hatred. So.
Well, I can certainly see why. So, Bolin's on these 2-lap-old soft tyres. He's got track position, but he doesn't quite have the tyres now, does he? He's got... Obviously, they're going to be slightly used. we've been through a heat cycle. Do you think it's going to be Do you think it's going to be much different, or do you think it's just going to be almost leveled out now? Oh, well, the Montana. I think Montana's. Has he pitted? No, he certainly veered off to the pit entry, didn't he? That certainly confused me. As the rest of the pack catch up, and the Red Bull. Well, if you're Calzo, you might as well. The Red Bull of Calzo has pitted once again. I think it might be to serve a. Certainly, I didn't see a penalty, but it might well be to serve a penalty. It's going to come in for another set of soft tyres, isn't he?
It is indeed, mate. It is indeed.
So
I'm pretty sure, with the pace Bolin has showed throughout this race, he can probably hold off the Mercedes and Montana. But again, the tyre life is going to make a difference.
Saying 3 laps for Bolin and none for everybody else. I think it might well be our friends at Codemasters having another glitch, which to be fair to them. It doesn't happen very often, so you can forgive them this one. Yeah, because it's telling me that Bolin is on, you know, obviously his 3-lap-old tyres, but everybody else, despite them having all completed a lap, are on fresh tyres, 0-lap-old. So we shall see. Calzo is now the only man really to make up any kind. He needs to make up any kind of time. His tyres are going to be slightly warmer, not only slightly fresher, but slightly warmer, because he'll put a bit more anger through them on this outlap. As Matrix drops back by 2 seconds, mind you, if you're 13th with nobody behind you, you can. So just wait for the safety car lights to go out, and then it'll be 6 laps, I would suggest, of Bedlam in Bahrain. Safety car is in this lap. Just as soon as I say that, Bolin backs the pack up already. Going to be very slow down the penultimate straight, isn't he? Just weaving around, waiting to pick his moment.
Who's going to come out on top in the battle?
Penalty for Konzo with Fruitful. That'll obviously be looked at, as with any kind of safety car penalty, because of the unique game that we have here. Now, as I think Bolin's. No, he's not quite gone. I thought he'd gone there. I think so did Montana. He's still not gone yet. He's going very late, isn't he? Right. I think he's gone. That's a great restart. He's managed to get, not in terms of time, but in terms of distance, he's managed to put a bit of distance between himself and Montana. There's no way the Montana's going to catch up. Big Slater, meanwhile, has got the racing point of simply off the restart, and Ghosts past his Haas teammate Jacob. There's certainly a lot of moving and shaking going down through the field. Matrix in the Ferrari has climbed up to 11th. It's swung round for him, as now, leading into turn 4, Bolin appears to have got a little bit of a buffer, certainly 0.6 of a second, between himself and Montana. It's going to be a titanic battle. No DRS for the next 2 laps. So it's going to be, at the moment, pure racing before you get any of these gizmos that they've recently introduced. Now, 9 years ago, I think it was, they head into a little lock-up there from Bolin into that double left-hander, that awkward double left-hander. They've all saved up their ERS. I think you're going to get a lot of battery pressing over the next couple of laps. Extends the track as much as you legally can now through there. Fires himself off of turn 10. And away he goes. But Montana's stuck with him. He's got a big rear gunner again in Vaporizer, so he's not going to have any bother from behind. Jacob and Slater, meanwhile, in the Haas duo, they've cleaned up, haven't they? They've moved up to 4th and 5th. It's been a great opening lap for them. I think they might be team riding as well, because Jacob's got about a second between himself and Slater. Ghost actually ended up quite far back in the end. And Montana now, still 0.6 behind. I think he's saving a bit of his energy. So Berlin's got 75, Montana's got nearly 90, so that could be quite key. Simply, and Jacob still disputing 5th place into the first corner. I think Jacob's got him for the time being, and I think Simply's going to have trouble from Fruitful. He is indeed, the Dutchman coming through on the inside to salvage what's been a pretty disappointing day for Williams. Bolin, meanwhile, keeping ahead of Montana by 6/10 of a second. Vaporizer is still not in, still interested in this. Oh, and Jacob's got a 3-second time penalty. That's going to really set him back at this late stage. 3 seconds at the moment, dropped him all the way to 10th at this moment in time. And yeah, a little bit more battery pressing out of the exit for Bolin. He's under a bit of pressure now. I think Montana is going to really challenge him. I think we might have been correct when we said that the tyres were going to come into it. Hey Blades, this is going to be a titanic battle the last 4 laps.
Certainly will be, and I'm excited to see whether Montana's going to try and get this move done earlier, or if he's going to try and buy his time once the DRS comes back on.
Difficult, really. I think you've got to try and get it done and scamper, because if you leave him in your DRS and you leave that possibility of overtaking over, I think you're going to be in big trouble, aren't you? You know, you've always got that as he has a little sighter on the inside. Really nothing doing there. I think though, the longer you keep him in front of you, then you know he might be able to attack on the last lap, use everything he's got, and come back. But Bolin has got a hell of a job on his hands as Montana goes down the inside into turn 4. That's tight, but tight enough and not too tight. Bolin exits and retains for now the lead, but I think this might end up swapping a couple of times before the checkered flag. Bolin locks up into the tight right-hander as Montana now stays just 4/10 behind. Vaporizer is also in this, and Big Slater's caught the train as well. This is 4 for the lead in the last 4 laps.
So DRS open now for Montana, and Bolin's pulling away just a little bit.
Yeah, Bolin pressed his overtake a little bit, but Montana would have been foolish, I would have thought, to go down the inside there. So now, firing up into the 3rd sector. It's not going to do anything here. It drops back to half a second. Bolin's got a scamper, and he is scampering. He's pressed his button a little bit. He's already moving to try and break the toe, which you're allowed to do. You're absolutely fine to do. I think all of this now has brought Jacob back into play. This could end up being a train of 6 covered by 3 seconds. Bolin's now crossing the line, pushed a little bit of his button. I think Montana's keeping his powder dry for the time being. It's only half a second. I think Vaporizer's as close to him as Montana is to the lead. And he's going to need Vaporizer to be that rear gunner, because Big Slater's looking racy once again. The Irishman 4th place in that Haas with Jacob behind him. No threat because of his 3-second penalty. This is going to get really good the last 3 laps now as Bolin hangs on to the 1st position. Half a second clear still of Montana.
Bit squirmy there from Montana out of turn 4, so...
You can see he's trying, isn't he? He might have a 50-point lead, but I don't think he's thinking about that now in the last few laps and corners of this thrilling Bahrain Grand Prix, it must be said. Calzo in 14th, that's not really going to affect his race. 3-second time penalties to get back to the lead battle. Bolin's kept a lot of his power, certainly more than you'd expect, bearing in mind he's had to do a bit of defending already as he gets away. Gap's still 4/10 of a second. This is really tense. I'm tense and I'm in the commentary box, so goodness knows how those drivers must be feeling. Still 3/10 of a second. He's got good traction, isn't he, coming out of that second to last corner, really. I think Montana's got a bit of slipstream. Yeah, he got a bit of slipstream. I think he pushed his button a little bit.
He did push the overtake button just a little bit, and he's on it again now.
Yeah, I think he wants this done. I think he wants this done. I think Bolin might keep it dry until he gets into turn 4. I think he realised very early on, as Montana takes the lead on the penultimate lap, this might still be, I said it's going to change a couple of times, it might still do. Montana now has to scamper. He's got 4/10 already. It's a beautiful exit. He's already breaking the toe a little bit there into the 4th corner. Bolin, the hunter, is now the hunted, and Bolin, being previously the hunted, is now the hunter. 2 laps to go. Montana now already starting to build a bit of lead. Those fresher softs, I think, are coming into their own. So 0.8 of a second. Bolin's just got to stick with it, really, isn't he? Stick with it and try and see what he can rescue now. It's 0.9 of a second. I think he's only going backwards though. So gaining nowhere near enough, still 7/10 of a second. I think Montana's done enough here to break the toe. He's going to use every bit of overtake to try and break that DRS. He's only 1.5 tenths from doing so. It's nearly 9/10 of a second. Beautiful exit there. He's already on the overtake button. I think he might just do it. He has broken it. It's 1.0 seconds, 1.1 seconds now. He's used all of his battery, but I think he spent it wisely. Bolin's now going to have to use that overtake to defend from a rather racy Vaporizer. Montana sets the fastest lap on 1 minute 27.3, but that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in the battle for second. And Vaporizer comes down the inside. And is he going to do it? No. Bolin hangs on just a little bit there. That's excellent defending from the McLaren driver. He's going to have to get his elbows out now as I go into turn 4. Will he go to the inside? I think he might have to if he's to stand a chance. No. Vaporizer's not quite there. NSX Fruitful, meanwhile, in the Williams, is challenging Jacob for 5th. He's just about got the move done before Jacob slammed the door shut. And one DRS zone now left for Vaporizer. Vaporizer is all over the back of Bolin. He's still got a bit of battery save, but so's Bolin. I think it's pretty even Stevens there. DRS has now got to open. It's half a second. I think Bolin may just hang on as Montana scampers clear. I don't think he's going to have anything doing now as they go into the final complex. He needs really to just keep it nice and smooth, and I think he's going to hang on. Montana's going to win this now. There's no doubt about that. That move was decisive enough. I think Bolin may have made a mistake trying to not defend that. Montana's going to cross the line. All being well here. Now as he gets across out to the final corner, it's going to be another victory for Montana. That's 3 in a row at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but that doesn't tell the half of the story as VR46 Bolin takes 2nd place ahead of Vaporizer in 3rd. Big Slater misses out in 4th place in the Haas ahead of Simply, Ghosts, Yorno, Fruitful and Jacob. For all their fighting, drop out of the points, I believed. For the 3-second time penalty. The safety car did not do them any favours, and your driver of the day is the EU2 reserve, and that's Cos Stumpy. Obviously you can get your comments in as well to us as to your driver of the day. Blaze, that was a thrilling race, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially thrilling towards the end with that safety car stirring everything up and causing a little bit more action. And, Montana coming out with a win after a disastrous first lap.
I called it the creme de la creme at the top of the broadcast, and I think the race has delivered, hasn't it? Action-packed, entertaining and thrilling, and we've got a familiar set of drivers going to be coming in for interviews. So your final order was NSX Montana in 1st ahead of Bolin in 2nd for McLaren. 3rd place was Vaporizer for the 2nd Mercedes ahead of Big Slater and Simply in 4th and 5th. Ghost retained 6th for Ferrari ahead of Yorno in 7th. Stumpy scored points for Alfa Romeo Racing ahead of Jacob in 9th. He managed to hold on to points, but Mads pipped Fruitful to the final points paying spot. An excellent race, and we're going to get the drivers into the party for a couple of interviews. Blaze, that was really a fantastic race, wasn't it? Thrilling,
yeah.
I think is the word to use. Certainly my throat's very dry, which is normally a good sign as we've got our first and the winner, Montana, now into the party, just awaiting the other 2 gentlemen to come in. It's an all Dutch top 3, I believe. No, 2 Dutchmen and a Swiss. So best that we do conduct the interviews in English. So just now awaiting, I think it's Bolin that's still to join. We've got we've got Bolin, we've got Montana, just waiting Vaporizer now.
He'll be here in a few minutes.
Congratulations to you, by the way. That was a lot of fun, gentlemen, wasn't it? Unless you're Bolin, who had the pound seats until the safety car came out.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So now we wait for the third and final podium sitter to join the podium interviews. We'll wait for a couple of minutes more before we begin, gentlemen, so you can debrief. As long as you keep it clean, you can debrief to your heart's content meantime. And I think we'll start at this moment in time without him. He'll join a little bit later on. So Montana, well, where to start with that? That's 3 straight victories for yourself. But that doesn't really tell the story, doesn't it? Talk about it from your perspective.
Yeah, that was a weird one, but it showed once again that you should never give up. And that the start was so weird. I got sent by Bolin around the outside, I think, and no, hang on, Bolin on the inside and Charlie on the outside. Absolutely sandwiched. I don't know how I didn't get any damage there. I think there might have been a desync because the contacts were just so weird. Yeah, I got absolutely mucked in the first lap, then I had a side-by-side with Charlie, where I completely lost it uphill, and then on the straight we made it 3 wide and somehow we got to the left into the wall. I don't know how that happened yet. So yeah, I thought, fuck that race is over, but keep going.
So, sorry.
Go on.
So that first lap collision with Charlie is going to be a talking point. There's no getting away from it. What was it from your perspective? Because I mean, it sent you into the barriers and ended Charlie's race. You know, what were your views on it?
Yeah, I think it was a wow. Okay, I just saw it from Charlie's perspective. It looks like just me and the guy on the inside somehow got together with Charlie, and then it was just a game contact model that sent us into the wall. Probably a racing incident. Can't say that yet, but yeah, we have to look at that. But I don't think neither of us did something excessively wrong.
It was just, I think, 3 into 1 won't go. Bolin, well, you gave us probably, I'd said in commentary, one of the best outlaps I've seen for some time. Ultimately, it wasn't enough, but you must have enjoyed that, mustn't you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, it was a really good race. For the quali, I chose to go softer tires because I wanted to go for an aggressive strategy to go for the medium soft. But the safety came out the first lap, so we already go to the mediums. So then I thought, oh shit, I got no mediums. So yeah, I needed a couple more laps to go to the softs, and then I was really gaining on to Mercedes. So, but yeah, unfortunately, the safety car came out.
I think you were the one really that it messed up because you just started to catch up to the Mercedes duo. You're on a lot better tyres certainly than Vaporizer on his worn hards, and you'd have challenged Montana as well. So was it just a case of sort of bad timing on the safety car's point of view, or do you think there was anything else that you could have done potentially, or?
Nah, it was just a bad time.
Well, thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. I shall let you get on. So yes, that was the Bahrain Grand Prix in the EU1 tier of Contest of Speed. We'll see you next weekend. Don't know whether it'll be myself and Limmy, or whether it'll be another guest appearance from Blades. But yes, very much looking forward to the next round in Austria. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining us from this makeshift commentary duo. I've been Jack Prentice, and he's been Blades. Thank you very much indeed. Any final words, Blades, from you?
Just a great race to come and guest commentate on, and thank you very much for watching.
And a great guest you were too. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.